Our story begins in the Superpower Academy, where our protagonist, Ning Feng, is laughingly playing games on his phone while walking. He was engrossed in an online game when someone launched a palm strike at him, slapping him hard on the face. Wang Yu asks him what he was doing and reminds him that the awakening exam is about to happen. Instead of preparing, he was playing games. He laughingly asks her if it isn't a combination of work and rest. He then tells her that he is already 18 years old and, at most, he'll awaken into a 1 or 2 star ordinary profession. He then leans towards her and tells her that he is not unlike her, who awakened a 5-star profession at 16, and asks her why he should work so hard if he can just rely on her coattails in the future, making her pissed. She then grabs him by the neck while shouting that she'll let him rely on her. While he was choking, the men notice Wang Yu and think that she must have returned from special training. Also, their province hasn't produced such a genius as Wang Yu in many years. Wang Yu's gap between people is too wide because she is beautiful, wealthy, and talented. Then they notice him trying to take his phone back, making the men wonder who he was. One of them answers that it was Ning Feng, the infamous trash of the school, because he was about to turn 18, but still hasn't awakened. Wang Yu dragged him by the ears while the men, clearly irritated, ask how someone like Goddess Wang Yu, a nice beauty, could hang out with such a person. One of the men replied that he heard they had been childhood friends but wondered how someone like that could match up with a childhood friend like Wang Yu when he was from an orphanage. Blue Star is a world where games and reality merge, and as long as they are over 16, they have the chance to awaken their abilities and become adventurers. Someone then tells the students that the next awakening miracle could be them. Ning Feng was waiting in line, wondering what was up with Wang Yu because she was being so serious again when it was his 3rd time taking the exam, and he was not her rookie. The instructor tells them that the students called to the front should go to the testing area for assessment, and that the students who successfully awaken will receive a set of basic equipment for their profession. They should also prepare for practical testing. The students begin to chat about what they want to get when the instructor calls his name. He walks to the front while the students teasingly ask if he isn't the senior from grade 3, and whisper that he always follows Goddess Wang Yu, thinking he is so powerful, yet he hasn't awakened at 18. He then approached the teacher named Kai Wai and with a smile, she told him not to be nervous. She ordered him to place his hand on the crystal and relax his mind, which he followed. Once settled, he waited without expecting anything to happen but was shocked when the crystal lit up, leaving everyone stunned and surprised along with him. He thought he must be able to awaken because the crystal reacted to him, and he knew that the blue light represented the magic system. The students began to laugh at him, but he didn't care, knowing that awakening would automatically teach him initial skills. He decided to see how many stars of the profession he could awaken. The crystals then released different colors, and he was shocked to see the system show him that he had awakened a 1-star profession, and learned a skill, the mud march technique. Kai Wai thought it was a pity for him to get only 1 star, and the students began to laugh at him. They teasingly told him to hurry down because standing there was embarrassing, and that garbage is garbage. Kai Wai asked him what skill he had awakened, and when he didn't answer, Kai Wai called him again, catching his attention, and he looked back at her, confused. She thought he seemed to have suffered a big blow from his looks, and after all that silence, in the end, he was still just 1 star. She then gave him his equipment and ordered him to change into it and move to the next stage. He walked away, wondering if he had really not misheard, and remembered the system telling him that his awakening was complete and he had gained passive abilities, Dark Kinship and Mystery Gift. The system also explained to him that the passive skill, Dark Kinship, means he would not suffer a backlash from dark power and could use forbidden spells without any cost. The passive skill, Mystery Gift, meant he could release forbidden spells once a week without consumption, making him wonder if the dark power was the most evil power in that world and if forbidden spells were the highest level of magic. But then, the system told him that he got the mud marsh technique and it was beginning transformation, making him wonder what transformation meant, and what it was. The system just told him that the transformation was complete, so the mud marsh technique transformed into the forbidden curse, Foul Earthshell, leaving him stunned and confused about what was going on. He thought that darkening and forbidden spells didn't sound good and knew that he still had the practical test, so he hoped nothing would go wrong. Later, the instructor told them that 50 people would enter in groups, each battling monsters in the realm to familiarize themselves with their newly awakened skills. Candidates were not allowed to form teams or attack each other, and unmanned drones would supervise. Kai Wai told everyone to confirm their skills as soon as possible and they shouldn't worry because others wouldn't see them. The system then showed him that his active skill was Foul Earthshell, a dark forbidden spell that summons dark power from another world to form a protective shield and was also capable of crushing all approaching enemies. He knows that those words sound very dangerous, making him wonder if it was some evil spell. He thinks he'll be in trouble if someone finds out about his skill. The instructor then ordered them to enter the arena, which they all followed, while he was shouting to the system in panic for an explanation. He then enters the portal and comes out in a sunny forest. The students begin to use their new skills to defeat the goblins inside. While the others are busy fighting with the goblins, he is busy hiding in the bush. When a goblin walks near him, he immediately hides. He was busy thinking that the entire exam menu was monitored by drones, so he dared not use those forbidden spells casually. But knowing that he didn't have any other means of attack, he decided to hide and wait for an opportunity, not noticing the drone flying above him. A man who saw him hiding angrily said that everyone else was leveling up by killing and asked what he was doing. Kai Wai called the man Captain Zhu and explained that Ning Feng awakened relatively late, and wasn't in good health. Also, the only activated skill he possesses is a defensive spell, not very suitable for solo combat. Captain Zhu tells her to call Ning Feng out because there is no need for him to continue the exam. After all, with just a one-star profession, he can't become a real adventurer. But then, the monitoring man makes a confused sound, making Captain Zhu look back at the monitor, and ask what is going on. The man replies that he doesn't know, but it seems like the drone was attacked and then the feed was cut off. The man then shouts an alert to everyone and reports that unusually high power fluctuations were detected in the realm, making Captain Zhu panic and order his men to investigate in a hurry and find out what is happening. On the other hand, inside the arena, the drone was destroyed into pieces while the man was on the ground, shaking in fear and asking how there could be such powerful monsters in the exam venue while looking at the huge goblin with sharp blades in hand. The goblin orders his brethren to rise and not to be enslaved any longer. He then orders the goblins to let those invaders die there, which the goblins agree to. The drone flew closer to the goblins, but the leader attacked it with his power, making it explode and fall into a nearby bush. Ning Feng, hit in the head, wondered why the drone fell, but then he was shocked to see a swarm of goblins surrounding him. The leader goblin laughingly said that there was actually a little bug there. A few goblins dashed toward him to attack while he wondered why so many monsters were gathering and guessed that the one in the middle seemed to be an elite leader. He then realized that the drone was gone and thinks that this was a great opportunity to test if the forbidden spell was real. He raised his hand and a purple power emanated from him. The goblin leader was shocked to see an undead rising from underground. On the other hand, at the station, a man shouted that all the screens had lost connection and suddenly, a leakage of dark power occurred in the realms, suspected to be from a king level or above monster. Captain Zhu ordered his men to call for reinforcements immediately and evacuate all non-combatants nearby. Kai Wai knew that a king level or above monster was a disaster capable of destroying a city and wondered why such a terrifying presence would be in the exam menu. Back in the arena, the goblin leader was sweating in horror and fear upon seeing his power, but Ning Feng simply released his undead to attack the goblins. He was amazed to see the forbidden spells in action, thinking they were kind of gross and sticky looking, which scared him. As his undead killed the goblins one by one, the system informed him that he had killed a goblin minion, gaining 10 experience and continuously gaining more experience points for every goblin killed. The goblin leader was shocked by the powerful darkness and asked if he was not human and how this was possible. Then realizing his movements were slowing down, the leader shouted not to come any closer, but the undead just wrapped around it and killed it. The system then informed him that he had killed the goblin vanguard and gained 6,000 experience. A moment later, the system displayed his character information. His occupation was a mage. His level was 10, health was 10, strength was 8, agility was 8, spirit was 20, and his experience was 12. He was amazed to have gained 10 levels in one go, knowing that in previous years' practical tests, participants could only level up by 1 or 2 levels at most. He thought the experience points from the small monsters were all very low, mainly relying on the elite monster from earlier, and wondered how there could be elite monsters appearing in the exam venue. But then, an item lit up in front of him, making him realize it was the loot dropped by the elite monster, and he noticed that both items were of orange quality. He grabbed the Vanguard mark, a consumable item of orange quality, which gave him a permanent +10 agility attribute. Then there was the Shadow Butcher's Claw, also of orange quality, with a requirement level of 20. It provided +13 strength, +16 agility, +10% attack speed, +5% critical hit rate, and a 10% chance to trigger a combo, and it could be inlaid with up to 3 enhancements. He knew that orange quality was already considered epic-level treasure, which meant they were definitely very valuable. And although he couldn't use the claw now, orange equipment could still sell for a lot of money. Excited at the thought of easily leveling up by killing monsters and finally getting rid. He was then startled when the captain ordered everyone to immediately abandon the test, and used the teleport scroll to evacuate, making him wonder what was happening. Suddenly, he felt a strong power spreading around him, and when he peeked back, he was shocked to see holes in the ground, making him question why it was so desolate there, if it was the power of the forbidden curse, and if they were all traps. He immediately opened his scroll, knowing it would be terrible if someone found out, so he must run away. The other students used their scrolls to leave the arena too. Captain Ju shouted to everyone not to stay there and to leave immediately to return to the city. Ju clenched his teeth, thinking that even if everyone present teamed up, they wouldn't be able to resist a king level or above monster, and he didn't know if reinforcements would make it in time. But Ju was shocked to realize that the source of the dark power suddenly disappeared, fearfully wondering if that demon had escaped outside the realm. When he came out from the arena, he saw Kaiwai telling someone that it was already beyond what they could handle, so she'd report immediately, and everyone had to remain silent to avoid large-scale chaos. She also ordered the activation of the school's ceiling array, leaving only one exit for unrelated personnel to evacuate quickly. He called out to Kaiwai to ask, but she wordly asked if he was okay. He replied that he was fine, and she ordered him to leave in a hurry, telling him that the school was temporarily suspended, so he shouldn't come back unless necessary. Later, he asks Wang Yu what is going on because it seems like their teacher, Kaiwai, is facing a formidable enemy. She replies that she heard an unknown power source was detected in the exam venue and that the whole school had been sealed off. He wonders if it could be the unidentified elite monster and thinks about how hard it was for him to endure until awakening, only for the test to be interrupted halfway. Wang Yu notices his disappointment and thinks that the incident has hit him hard. She then tells him that defensive spells can save his life, but they are not suitable for leveling alone, and starting tomorrow, he'll team up with them. He thanked her for her kindness but told her that it was not necessary because he can level up on his own. He proudly thinks that it's not that he doesn't want to, but he only knows the dark forbidden spells, so he can't casually use them in front of others, while Wang Yu looks at him, confused. She then shouts to him that no refusal is allowed, and tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, at the West Gate, she'll be waiting for him. He tried to stop her, but she just walks away, leaving him frustrated and shouting, asking why she won't listen to him. He also shouts that Wang Yu is so autocratic. But he calms down, knowing that it was bad, and wonders if he should fake being sick. He then realizes that it won't work because, with Wang Yu's personality, he can't avoid her indefinitely. He then thinks of a plan and wonders if it'll work. Later, he arrives at Yuan Cheng Exchange, aware that some equipment comes with skills attached. He plans to buy an item with a Meyer spell attached and pretend to use it tomorrow. He walks into the store, hoping that the system won't turn the equipment's skill into a forbidden spell, and thinks about selling the loot from earlier monster fights. A pretty lady asks him how she may assist him, and he replies that he'd like to purchase an item with the Meyer spell attached, whether it's a weapon, clothing, or accessory. She asks him if he is a newly awakened student and tells him that there is no need to specifically buy a low-level spell like the Meyer spell because they have many items with high-level spells attached, more suitable for leveling up. She offers to show him some, but he replies that there is no need for it because he just needs it temporarily, so the equipment level doesn't need to be too high. The lady then calls someone to assist him and walks away, remarking that after all, he was a penniless person and she was not going to bother serving him, so he should let the newcomer handle him, leaving him confused. Then another lady asks him how she can assist him, and he replies the same. The lady showed him the equipment. He tried the gloves, armor, and a sword that he couldn't lift, but in the end, he settled for a ring. The lady asked him if he was satisfied with that ring, and he replied that it was fine. He then thanked the lady for accompanying him to so many stores and asked where he could sell loot. The lady took him to the appraisal consignment room. The man inside invited them in, and the lady informed the man, Wang, that he wanted to sell loot. He showed the armor, asking if Wang could help them evaluate it and how much it could be sold for. Wang saw that it was an agility-based orange weapon with low-level requirements, boasting excellent attributes, very suitable for newcomers. And it also came with 3 gem slots, allowing for adjustments according to needs to achieve more suitable effects. Wang told him that it was a good item and they should have several clients interested in that equipment. Wang then asked him if he had any specific requirements for its price, and he replied that the higher the price, the better. Wang said he understood and asked him to wait a moment because he would make a phone call to contact the clients. Wang then called Lady Yang to tell her that Ning Feng was her guest, so she should take care of him, which she agreed to. Wang called someone named Zhang to ask if he was still looking to find a fine piece of equipment for his son and mentioned that he happened to have one there, while Yang was pouring him tea on the side. After the call, Wang informs him that the equipment has been sold and the buyer is willing to pay 50,000 crystals. However, after deducting an 8% transaction fee, will receive 46,000 crystals. This revelation shocks Ning Feng, and Yang stares at him in disbelief too. A moment later, Wang mentions that if he completes the formalities there, they'll transfer the money to his account immediately. Ning Feng replies that it was quick and he was just thinking about buying a few more pieces of equipment. Wang assures him that he'll recommend some shortly, guaranteeing his satisfaction. Outside the room, another lady asks the pretty lady from earlier if she didn't mention that she likes handsome guys the most and questions why she let that young man go. The pretty lady responds that she only likes rich and powerful handsome guys, implying that poor guys are not even worthy of carrying her shoes. Then seeing him emerge with Wang and Yang, they question the pretty lady about why her client is now with Master Wang. The other lady reveals she heard that the handsome guy sold equipment for 50,000 crystal coins and was now choosing another piece of equipment, leaving them shocked to learn that it was more than 3 months' worth of their salary just in commission. The pretty lady is stunned and exclaims that it should have been her receiving him, so the commission should be hers. After his shopping, Yang tells him to take care and mentions that next time he comes, he should just find her directly. She then introduces herself as Yang Xin. The next day, Ning Feng walks outside proudly with his new equipment, relieved that he tested the equipment last night and the spell it comes with won't be affected by the system, so he doesn't have to worry about exposure. He then happily calls Wang Yu, but then someone tells Wang Yu that they didn't expect to find her there. She sees a group in front of her, comprising a shield warrior, a mage, a great axe berserker, and a cleric. She introduces them to him as members of her guild, and 2 members smile at him, but the other 2 stare at him seriously, making him wonder what was wrong with those 2 because they looked like he owed them 80 million. The shield warrior tells Wang Yu that he remembers she was about to reach her second transformation, prompting her to ask the man what he meant by it. Ning Feng was amazed upon hearing this, knowing that transformations can only be completed once every 30 levels, which made him wonder if Wang Yu was almost level 60. This revelation made it clear why Wang Yu is considered a genius girl with a 5-star rating from the beginning. The man then replies that it was nothing much, he just wanted to give her a gift. He gave her an advanced agility potion that was consumable, of orange quality, and it permanently increased the agility attribute by +3. The berserker man exclaimed that it was an advanced potion that permanently increases attributes. The cleric asked if she was right to assume it was expensive. The man replied that expensive wasn't a big deal because it cost only 30,000 crystal coins. However, both of them agreed that the key issue was that such high-level potions are hard to come by, even with money. His father had asked many friends for help and finally managed to obtain one. She thanked the man for his kindness but told him he could take the gift back. However, the man disagreed, emphasizing that the potion was very precious. He then asked her if she wasn't determined to get into the top university. She turned around, replying that there was no need for it, and they still had things to do, so they should go first. The man, visibly angry, pointed at Ning Feng and asked Wang Yu if she was really going to waste time on that kind of trash. She angrily called the man Zhao Cheng to warn him, but Cheng teasingly asked her what was wrong and remarked that a 1-star was just trash and they would never amount to anything in their life. Ning Feng wondered why Cheng was suddenly targeting him, who this guy was, if he was sick, and if he should just cast a forbidden spell on him to settle the matter. The cleric lady attempted to persuade Cheng that they should leave, but he insisted she move aside, declaring it was none of her business. He vehemently told her that Ning Feng's entire body couldn't equate to the value of a single attribute potion and that they should leave to avoid further embarrassment. However, he was calmly confronted by Ning Feng, who questioned if he was acting like a mad dog, biting people indiscriminately, and pointed out it was merely a +3 potion, yet he dared to boast so arrogantly. This made Cheng angrily retort, questioning what he had said and if he was seeking death. The mage then challenged Cheng, asking if he possessed anything more formidable to justify his attitude and why he wouldn't showcase it to them. Cheng, agreeing with his team, told him that as long as he could produce such an item, he would kneel and kowtow to him, but if he failed, he would perform the gesture instead. Upon releasing the item, he instructed Cheng to prepare himself and presented it to Wang Yu as a gift. Surprised, she discovered it was a pioneer badge, an orange item that permanently enhanced attributes. She inquired about the item, having never encountered it before. Cheng, stuttering, questioned how an item could permanently provide a +10 attribute boost and speculated it was a falsehood. However, he confidently suggested they test it to see for themselves. Wang Yu, initially hesitant, accepted the badge on his assurance that he had found it at his home and intended it for her. Her team urged her to utilize the badge immediately, unable to contain their anticipation. Upon using it, she excitedly confirmed the increase in attributes, astonishing the cleric lady. Meanwhile, Cheng and the mage man denied the possibility, accusing Ning Feng of theft. He reminded Cheng to kowtow audibly due to his purported hearing impairment. Cheng, defiant, refused, but when Meng Yu questioned his hesitation, he sought his team's support, only to find them departing. Left with no alternative, Cheng begrudgingly knelt and performed a loud kowtow. After that, he walked away while waving goodbye to everyone, telling them that he would see them later. Once they were far away, Wang Yu apologized to him, but he told her to stop, indicating that their relationship did not allow for apologies, smiling. He told her that she really didn't need to accompany him because he preferred her to complete the second transformation and get into the best university. He also mentioned knowing that he couldn't level up with her around. She wordly told him not to give up on himself, and he replied that he wasn't giving up. She then gave him something, which he saw were skill books. She explained that he could learn them once he reached the appropriate level. Noticing that they were all of purple quality, he asked if they were expensive. She replied that they cost not much money and were incomparable to the badge he had given her. So he told her he would accept them. Later, in a dangerous graveyard on the periphery of the secret realm, the undead lunged at them. Then, an arrow flew, hitting an undead in the head. He shouted that it was 666 and silently thought that the experience gained there was so low. But he couldn't tell Wang Yu that he had already reached level 10, making him wonder what he could do when he felt helpless too. But then Wang Yu's phone rang and she answered it. The cleric lady informed her that they had just received news that the big boss, the fallen necromancer, was about to appear and such an opportunity was quite rare. The lady then asked her if she wanted to pursue it. She asks her if she was coming. Chong interrupted them by asking, "How else are we going to fight the boss if Wang Yu won't come? Tell her that the fallen law necromancer can drop rare mage items, which are very important to him." Wang Yu was silent upon hearing this and looked at him, who was telling her to go because it was okay. They were both in that secret realm anyway, so he could level up later. She agreed and told him to go to the safe zone and wait for her, which he excitedly agreed to. She then jumped and flew away while he was shouting to her to take care and come play often when she had time, making her shout back at him to shut up. When she was gone, he smiled, thinking that he was finally alone, and proudly said that the big boss was there today. He was glad that he had prepared early yesterday and learned 2 more skills since they could all be used for free once. The more forbidden spells, the better. The system then showed him the passive skill, Arcane Gift, that allows all his forbidden spells to be cast once a week without consumption. He stretched his arms disappointedly, thinking that he only has 3 skill slots at his current level, and he knew that he wouldn't be able to use the skill book Wang Yu provided for him until he reached level 15. He then looked at his 3 active skills and 2 passive skills. Meanwhile, in a perilous tomb, one of the men in the other team told his members that the big boss had appeared in the depths of the secret realm's high tower, and they needed to fight their way there from here. They should be careful because that dungeon is very difficult and the monsters inside are very dangerous. However, they were all shocked when a flaming power dashed past them. The lady told her team that there was already an adventurer team ahead, making the man stutteringly wonder how they were so far ahead. But the other men noticed that it was Wang Yu and Cheng from the Lion Guild, and told his team that even if they were put on a national scale, they were still extremely powerful newcomers. The other man agreed and told them that others didn't stand a chance while looking at the Lion Guild excitedly and easily killing monsters in the front. The cleric asked the berserker man if he felt that Wang Yu had become even stronger, to which the berserker man agreed and responded that, after all, Wang Yu's agility had increased by 10 points. Meanwhile, in the secret realm, within a perilous tomb deep, a forbidden black hole appeared, and he came out from it while excitedly saying that the forbidden spell of spatial magic, indeed fast, is called Void Step. It's a dark forbidden spell that tears through space into the dark world, swiftly traverses to the target location, and can last for 1 hour. A moment later, an eye hole appeared on the ground, and the boss of the perilous tomb deep came out from it, but he just calmly told it that it was late. It immediately launched a powerful attack at him, causing a loud explosion and leaving nothing but dust in his previous position. It furiously called him an arrogant adventurer and demanded to know how he dared to appear alone, thinking he had vanished. But then, he reappeared behind it using his spatial magic, replying that he didn't want to share the spoils with anyone else. He then activated his Meteor Rain skill, a dark forbidden spell that summoned a fierce rain of fire from the sky, causing massive area damage. The boss was shocked to see stones raining fire above it, striking every monster in the tower and causing a huge explosion. He immediately used his spatial magic to evacuate from the rain and saw the system showing him that he had killed a corpse demon, moon demon, erosion ghost, dark feast ghost, armor warrior, and true armor warrior, gaining 12 experience points in total, 200 for each of them. The system then showed him that he had killed a fallen law necromancer, making him gain 50,000 experience points and reach level 30. He walked to the dropped items, knowing the spoils were abundant and that he could use the pendant and gemstones. Unfortunately, the 2 skill books were not exclusive to mages, still, they were worth a lot of money. He decided to absorb the necromancer emblem, thinking that even if it reduced stamina, he could accept it. After absorbing the necromancer emblem, the system showed him that during transformation, he could unlock the hidden occupation, undead wizard, or activate the prerequisite tasks for the hidden occupation of all elemental mage. He smiled, knowing that hidden occupations are quite rare and innate, so there was no way to intervene, making him wonder if those emblems could be the key to activating hidden occupations. He then decided on his choice and shouted that they should not talk anymore because a real man should become an all-elemental mage. Meanwhile, his meteor rain spread to the perilous tomb where Wang Yu and her team were fighting. The berserker, panicking, asked what was wrong and shouted that it was a terrifying magic fluctuation. Wang Yu ordered everyone to stop advancing and retreat, but Cheng disagreed, wanting to kill the necromancer, which made her shout at him, asking if he wanted to endanger everyone when the situation was already so dangerous. Chen clenched his teeth, thinking it was such bad luck. After retreating, she immediately grabbed her phone to inform Ning Feng, but she read that Ning Feng had messaged her that he had urgent matters and would leave first. Later, he arrived at the transformation hall and walked inside, noticing that not many people were there. He then saw the lady on the side, and the lady asked him if he was there to receive the transformation task. To which he replied, yes. The lady agreed and told him to let her register his information first. She then began to question him about his information, and he answered them. The lady couldn't believe he was undergoing transformation at 18 and noticed that his aptitude was a bit poor. She then stood up and told him to follow her to the mage transformation, which he agreed to. When they arrived at the mage transformation, the lady told him to just follow the process next, and then she would go out first, for which he thanked her. When the lady was out of the room, she saw someone and asked Captain Zhu if there was anything wrong. Zhu replied that they had just gone to investigate on site and the perilous tomb had suffered severe damage. Moreover, the source of power was not yet clear, but the estimated threat level might reach a king or higher. The lady asked Ju if there had been 2 king-level threats in just 2 days and Ju confirmed it. He then told her that he was sent by the higher-ups, requesting Solitary Shadow to take action. On the other hand, in the transformation room, the system showed Ning Feng that his first transfer mission was to become a Lick Wizard, with conditions to enter the realm of illusion Wumingui Tomb, and obtain the mission item the Blood Soul Crown. The time limit is 3 days and the difficulty is a level. The other option is the All-System Mage God, which is the first transfer mission prequel, with conditions to enter the realm of illusions Huiyang Divine Temple and obtain the mission item the Holy Emblem. The time limit is 3 days and the difficulty is S level. He chooses the All-System Mage God, thinking that it is just a prequel mission. The system asks him to verify the relevant information again. After his mission is settled, he comes out of the room, thinking that it is truly worthy of a hidden profession. Even an S-level mission has appeared. He was glad that they gave him 3 days so it was not too stressful for him. Another lady smiled and said goodbye to him, and he smiled and waved goodbye, but he noticed that it was not the lady from earlier. Meanwhile, in the Perilous Tomb, a man excitedly tells you that it is the first time he has seen a member of Solitary Shadow, and that their outfit is different. However, Ju tells the man to be quiet and responds that, after all, the existence of that organization is an official secret. Ju explained that it is said that members of Solitary Shadow all possess rare hidden professions that allow them to use the power of darkness in combat, specializing in executing special missions. The lady touched her head in pain and told everyone that it was such a powerful power of darkness that, even though it had dissipated a lot, it still affected her. She tells you that she didn't find any clues and it seems that the culprit disappeared after causing the damage, making it impossible to decide their purpose. Zhu tells her that recently, he has received reports frequently that some secret realms have shown unusual signs, which may be a prelude to some kind of crisis, and asks if there is any connection between them. She replied that it was hard to say and that she would consult with superiors and increase manpower. Zhu couldn't believe that even the famous Solitary Shadow, Kuang Lan, found it troublesome. The man asks Kuang Lan if the culprit is confined to a monster and if it could be others, but she asks the man back if he means if the culprit is a mutant like her, making the man apologize to her and explain that he didn't mean anything else. She calmly replies that the threat level there has exceeded the king level and to control such a huge power of darkness, the cost is not something that the human body can bear. The man asks if it means there is an exceptionally powerful monster hidden in the city which could bring about a catastrophe at any time. To which she agrees and replies that it is likely hiding in the dark and must be found as soon as possible. Meanwhile, the monster they were talking about was in his home, finding comfort in the dim environment. He sat on his bed, thinking that after reaching level 30, 4 more skill slots had been added. He decided to start by learning 2 books Wang Yu had given him. He then told the system that he wanted to learn a passive skill, Foul Earth Defense, and clicked on it. The system showed him that the passive skill, Foul Earth Defense, automatically takes effect when attacked, with damage 100% absorbed by the Foul Earth Shell, up to the limit of damage the Foul Earth Shell can inflict. Also, once the attack stops, the Foul Earth Shell will gradually repair itself. Later, in the exchange tower, he walked inside, and the lady from before saw him, thinking it was the same as last time. She jumped in front of him sweetly, telling him she was there, but he simply told her that he was looking for Yang Xin. She flirtatiously responded that Yang Jin was with another client at the moment, so today she would accompany him. However, he just walked past her, telling her it wasn't necessary and he would just look around himself, leaving the lady frustrated and wondering if he was rejecting her like that and if she was not even comparable to someone like Yang Jin. She then followed him, telling him it was okay because it was her duty. Suddenly, Yang Jin ran to him and called out his name. He asked her if she was done, and she replied that she was not done yet. She was just eating in the back, but her colleague had told her he was there, so she hurried over. He apologized to her for interrupting her meal and offered to treat her later as compensation, making her reply that it was embarrassing. Meanwhile, the lady in the background was infuriated, thinking he was deliberately provoking her anger. A moment later, he pointed to the books and told Wang that he wanted to consign those 2 skill books for sale and also wanted to buy some more mage skill books. Wang replied that it was no problem and ordered Yang to accompany him, which she agreed to. Wang remembered that last time he sold an orange weapon. But this time it was purple skill books, making Wang interested in his background and deciding to send someone to find out more about him. Later, he and Yang were chatting in the restaurant. When they finished, he called the waiter for the bill, but Yang told him there was no need for it because she had already paid. Shocked, he asked her if they hadn't agreed that he would treat her, to which she replied that she had a reason to treat him and he shouldn't worry about it. He asked her what the reason was, but she playfully replied that it was a secret and they should go when they were outside. He offered to walk her out, but she said there was no need to trouble himself because she was heading to another place and would just take a taxi. He agreed and told her to take care. When she entered the car, the driver asked her where they were going, and she replied to the city's second hospital. She smiled, thinking that thanks to Ning Feng, she earned a lot of commission and her father's medical expenses for that month were finally settled. As she was in tears of happiness, the car window shattered and something pierced the driver. She was horrified to see it outside their car. There was portal above and a lot of monsters was coming out from it, causing chaos in the street. She immediately grabbed the car door handle and jumped out of the car. Thrown to the ground, she wondered what was going on and why monsters were appearing in the safe zone. Then, a monster appeared in front of her. Stunned, she saw a man coming out of the portal, who then smiled at her. She then attacked the monster with her power, but the monster didn't sustain even a scratch and simply screamed in anger. Yang Zhen was a mage with a 1-star attribute and was at level 34, but she noticed that her attack was futile. The monster then swung its claw to attack her, making her shout in fear. Fortunately, Captain Zhu appeared in time and decapitated the monster. He asked her if she was okay, and she replied that she was. He then told her that if she could move, she should find a place to hide first. She ran away, while Zhu noticed that everything around there had been corrupted and the secret realm had begun to merge with reality. He had never seen such a serious situation before. He then looked at the monster he had just killed and noticed that these monsters were not something a 1-star ordinary person could handle, making him remember his colleague's words that an exceptionally powerful monster hidden in the city could bring about a catastrophe at any time. Suddenly, sharp fingers reached for him, but fortunately, he jumped away in time to dodge them. He asked the person who attacked him if he was a mutant, and the man replied that he was not that kind of trash because he was the guardian of the power of darkness. This made Zhu wonder what the man meant by guardian, as he had never heard of it before, but he decided to set his curiosity aside, knowing that it was not the time to dwell on such things. He then swung his sword at the man, but the man merely punched his sword, throwing him away. He realized that his situation was not good because the man was at least at the level of a 3rd transfer or higher. The man then put his finger on the ground, releasing his power, and laughingly said that it was his territory. He then released a dark power around them, telling Zhu that a weakling like him was no match for him, and jumped at him to attack, thinking that no one was a match for him. The man pierced his sharp claws into him, and the force threw him away. The man laughingly shouted that he had really become stronger and that he felt a constant surge of power by stepping on that land. Suddenly, the man's skull pendant called the man a lowly human and told him not to indulge himself, making the man apologize. Someone in the crack in the sky reminded the man that his power was granted by him and that without him, he would be nothing more than a crawling creature in the dirt like his kind. An eye then appeared in the crack, and demons slowly came out of it. The demon ordered the man, who was kneeling on the ground and shaking in fear, to prove to him that he still had value and he should use the people in the city as sacrifices for his dominion over that world, which the man respectfully agreed to. Meanwhile, someone swung the curtain aside, and it was Ning Feng who emerged from a public restroom. He was shocked to see dead bodies outside in a monster, making him wonder what was going on and what had happened, since he had just come back to use the toilet. The monster then looked back at him and dashed to attack, but the ground in front of him cracked and he simply attacked the monster with his earth spike wall. He was glad that he had spent a lot of money to buy that weapon today, which came with a purple skill and just happened to complement his death magic bonus. He then came out of the building and was shocked to see that the street was corrupted. He then saw someone dragging a dead body and the man threw the dead body aside when he saw Ning Feng, annoyed that there were still some overlooked insects. The man then jumped and launched his sharp claws at him, taking Ning Feng by surprise. The man successfully grabbed him, but was shocked to see Ning Feng releasing a shield, making his powerful arm shake. The man stutteringly asked how Ning Feng could block his attack, and the demon told the man that it was indeed a power of darkness. The demon also told the man that Ning Feng's power far exceeded his, but then corrected himself, stating that he sensed a more terrifying aura than death from Ning Feng. With his eyes closed, Ning Feng thought the man seemed very strong and wondered if the man could be planning to cast a forbidden curse on the city. He then opened his eyes and shattered the man's sharp crystal arm, leaving the man in disbelief and shouting for his leader demon. However, the demon simply told the man that the user he was trying to reach was out of service, so he should deal with it himself. The demons then flew up to the sky and rushed back to the crack, with the leader demon telling the demons to hurry back because they were closing. Eventually, The crack closed and the man who was left asked what was happening and how his power disappeared. Ning Feng just smiled at the man. The so-called mutants are those who, during the awakening process, gain the hidden profession of darkness. They can wield the power of darkness, which makes them stronger than ordinary professions of the same level. However, once they lose the protection of the power of darkness, they become vulnerable. The man screams as his body pierced with an earth spike, killing him instantly. Ning Feng knows that the man could be quite troublesome but is relieved that he can focus on offense without worrying about defense. He then decides to quickly pick up the spoils on the ground and hurry home before anyone notices him. A moment later, in the destroyed city, Kuang Lan and a lady appear. The lady informs Kuang Lan that the monster has retreated and the invasion from the realm has ceased. She notices that two destructive spells, one being the intrusion of the realm into reality, both appear and disappear suddenly, leaving her puzzled about their enemy's intentions. She then inquires about the situation elsewhere, and the lady responds that it's basically safe, except for the heavy losses suffered by the team in the south of the city with the current situation unknown. Remembering that the south of the city is where Zhu is in charge, she suggests that they should go there to investigate. Meanwhile, someone is looking at the man who was pierced and killed. Duan wonders if all the man's belongings have been taken. Suddenly, Kuang Lan appears and orders Dun not to move. She then questions his identity. Duan shows his badge, indicating he is a member of the Cloud Realm, and assures her not to be nervous. She recognizes the badge and acknowledges that he belongs to the unofficial organization composed entirely of fighters, which he confirms. She mentions that she's heard they always act in secrecy and asks why he was there. Duan explains that the dead man was originally a member of their group but betrayed the organization and assisted the realm in invading reality, leading to a monster assault on their camp and resulting in many casualties except for a few survivors. The lady questions if this incident is similar to the recent events and wonders if the realm invasion stopped because the man died. Duan counters with a question about whether they killed the man. She responds that they didn't and are unaware of who did. Duan mentions that the man liked to hide in realm space, highlighting his cunning nature and his own failed attempts to find him. Reflecting on the situation, Kuang Lan realizes that despite Zhu's strength, the entire army was wiped out, suggesting that directly killing the enemy stopped the realm invasion. This revelation leads Kuang Lan and Duan to speculate whether there exists such a formidable figure in Kinyu City. Duan then walks away, prompting her to ask where he is going, to which he replies that he is off to find something. Meanwhile, in Ningfeng's home, he was shouting with happiness upon discovering that the man's drop actually included 2 pieces of orange set equipment for the fighter profession. They are Eternal Glory, a top set accessory of orange quality with a level requirement of 120, and then Eternal Glory Pants, another set accessory of orange quality, also requiring level 120. However, he remembered that the man wasn't wearing them, leading him to guess that it was probably because the man's level wasn't high enough. He knew that if the man had worn them, he would have had to use forbidden techniques to defeat the man. He then stares at the man's pendant, noting its strange appearance, lack of quality, and unknown information. Flicking the pendant, he hoped there was no ancient god hidden inside of it. The pendant didn't move, but using the pendant, the demon was watching him. The demon, glad that he reacted quickly and closed the realm, hoped he hadn't been discovered. When Ningfeng stared at the pendant and expressed his hope that no ancient god was hidden inside, the demon jumped in shock and panically ordered his demons to cut off all their contacts and not to expose their location hastily, which the monsters quickly followed. The demon sighed with relief, thinking it was close and admitting it scared him to death. He also wondered how Ningfeng sensed him. The next day, in the city hospital, Zhu lay on the hospital bed, covered in bandages, and told Kuanglan that it was the young fighter who had saved them. He recounted how, as soon as the enemy saw the young fighter, they immediately opened a rift in the realm and escaped. She agreed, telling Zhu that she could vaguely feel that Duan's strength was comparable to hers. The man pondered whether the man, who had evaded capture by even the strongest, had actually been taken down by a mysterious figure. She speculated that it seemed to be the case for now. She then used that perhaps the mysterious man was just passing by, or maybe he was in seclusion. In any case, this mysterious figure definitely wasn't registered anywhere, and aside from some traces of ordinary magic, there were no special findings on the battlefield. Zhu expressed relief at the thought of the mysterious figure living among them, feeling very safe at the prospect. The man then shared his exaggerated idea, wondering if remnants of dark power remained on the battlefield from the previous night. She confirmed his suspicions, explaining that their enemies were monsters from another realm. The man admitted his confusion, merely guessing about the situation, and speculated whether the mysterious figure could also be a mutant. He noted that the 2 devastating spells hadn't caused any casualties and pondered if the mysterious figure could be a mutant. Zhu dismissed the thought as impossible and an overreach, but Kuang Lan took the suggestion seriously. Meanwhile, at the border, Ningfeng announced his intention to undertake the job change task and inquired whether he could pass through. The men allowed him to pass, and he saw the Temple of Radiance. As he started walking toward the temple, he was unaware that someone was following him. It was Duan trying to investigate him. A few days ago, at the exchange, the lady informed Wang that Duan had come to see him. Wang greeted Duan and told him that he had heard Duan wanted to buy a set of 4 transferred fighter suits. The lady thought to herself that with such a high-level and handsome man as Duan, who was generous with his money, they wouldn't have to worry in the future if they could get Duan on board. Wang then mentioned to Duan that, coincidentally, they had an old customer who had just called and was ready to sell a 4 transfer fighter suit, but this old customer only had 2 pieces at the moment. A top and a pair of pants. Duan inquired about the whereabouts of this old customer, to which Wang replied that the customer had some engagements today and couldn't make it. However, Duan noted that the details about the 4 transfers, 2 pieces, a top, and pants all match key information about his master's relic. Although it hadn't been confirmed firsthand, the suit mentioned was most likely his master's. Duan asked Wang if he could tell him where his old customer was and said he could pay for the information, which surprised Wang. Wang wondered about the coincidence, remembering that just as Ningfeng said he was going to sell the suit, Duan showed up asking about it, as if it had been planned. Wang then recalled that his old customer had mentioned going to a neighboring city for some business and suggested he should call to confirm. Later, Wang inquired if Duan had already left, and the lady confirmed she had seen him off. She then asked if something was wrong, and Wang shared that he had someone investigate Ningfeng's background previously. It was discovered that Ningfeng's parents, both ordinary 2-star professionals, had disappeared in an accident when Ningfeng was young, leaving Ningfeng alone. Ningfeng had attended the 7th middle school in the city and awakened at 18, but he was only a 1-star professional. Upon hearing this, the lady was surprised and told Wang that she thought Ningfeng was impressive, but it turns out that Ningfeng was so unremarkable. She mused that she had always thought there was something off about Ningfeng, looking so poor, but now it was exposed. She then questioned where Ningfeng had acquired the items he sold at their trading post, given that a 1-star professional couldn't obtain such valuable items. Wang replied that this was the problem, and although Ningfeng was friends with the daughter of the Wang family group, the Wang family group hadn't helped him much. The lady noted that Duan seemed very unhappy earlier, and asked Wang if Ningfeng's suit could have been stolen. Wang responded that it might not have been stolen, but it was probably not obtained through legitimate means, and this time, Ningfeng seems to have provoked someone he shouldn't. The lady excitedly replied that a 4-transfer expert is a top figure even in Bajan province and concluded that Ningfeng's items must have been stolen, which piqued her interest in Ningfeng. Back at the Temple of Radiance, Duan was hiding behind a rock, silently following Ningfeng. He couldn't believe that such a young person could repel the invasion of the realm. Especially considering that even a strong person like his master was defeated by the realm's boss. Duan then jumped behind another rock to continue his surveillance, pondering that according to the information he had, his master's relic might be in Ningfeng's possession. If Ningfeng wasn't the formidable one, then it must be someone supporting Ningfeng from behind. However, Duan understood the importance of caution, which is why he chose to remain hidden. Upon arriving at the Temple of Radiance's entrance, Ningfeng observed adventurers battling monsters. Duan noticed Ningfeng changing his outfit and believed that by assessing Ningfeng's equipment, he could roughly gauge Ningfeng's strength. After completing his outfit change, Ningfeng appeared exceedingly ordinary, resembling a student who hadn't yet graduated. This left Duan wondering if it was some kind of disguise. He convinced himself that it must indeed be a disguise because given Ningfeng's age, a novice disguise wouldn't attract attention and would allow him to blend into the crowd easily. Duan thought that if Ningfeng was intentionally hiding his whereabouts, to avoid raising suspicion, he decided not to follow too closely. Duan then marked Ningfeng with his skill to be safe, activating his spiritual sensing which marks the target in his consciousness without alerting Ningfeng. As he followed Ningfeng into the temple, Duan observed the monsters in the realm weren't very high level, leading him to wonder about Ningfeng's purpose there. Suddenly, Ningfeng seemed to sense something approaching and swiftly shielded himself from an attacking monster. Duan was shocked, realizing that Ningfeng had deployed an absolute defense that couldn't be breached. No matter the attack, Duan then noticed the monsters were avoiding Ningfeng, affirming his suspicion that Ningfeng was no ordinary individual. When Ningfeng halted, Duan wondered if the towering figure before them was the final boss and if Ningfeng would engage in a one-on-one battle. he silently exclaimed at the convenience of having no one else around. Observing the boss, Duan was puzzled by why someone as strong as Ning Feng would battle such a low-level boss. Strange, especially since the statue didn't move at all. Ning Feng surveyed the area, noting the mission guide made no mention of the huge statue, which was trembling with fear, trying hard to remain still. He entered the room and loudly declared that it should be there. Then he observed a colossal statue, an angel, floating in the sky. Well, that's for today's upload. Sorry for the eye voices I am using right now. My app facing some difficulties, hopefully they fix it soon. Thanks for watching, see you on the next upload.